And one of the things I try to do with my kids is something that I learned from my mom. When I was a kid, she would ask me, and then tell me. And I think this is going into this theme of unhindered growth. She would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like what sort of job do you want? What would you like to be? And as I'm thinking about it, before I would answer, so many times she would tell me, you're going to be a doctor. You should be a surgeon. You should be a neurologist. You should be a cardiologist. For her, it was nothing less. Fast forward actually to when I became a programmer. I remember after I'd gotten like maybe my second or third job in the field, I was feeling really good, climbing that corporate ladder, feeling successful, and having a conversation with her. And she told me like, wow, she was so proud of me. But in the end, she said, well, it's so nice, but I wish you were a doctor. Then I got married and had kids. She said, oh, congratulations on the marriage. Congratulations on my grandchildren. But I wish you were a doctor. But it's okay, right? I think those early conversations with my mother really helped me to think about the future. And so I'm trying to do the same with my kids. To think about growth, to think about where you want to go and what you want to be, and to imagine that, to use the power of your imagination to be there. And for me, this growth is unhindered because even my mother tried to take me down a path of what she wanted for me. And I think it's very important as humans that we're able to put aside that noise and put aside all the other well-wishers, and then to really think about for ourselves, well, what do I really want? What do I want to do? And as a kid, that's what it made. That's how I reacted to that, at least. And I think everyone has a different personality, but at least for me, I think that conversation helped me to really think about what do I want for myself, and even on top of that, even though my mother was doing good for me, it prepared me early for here's how people would like to see you. Ask yourself, is that the same thing that you want for yourself? And if it's not, then do your best to not be hindered by that. Do your best to not be handcuffed and to force down that path. Even if being a doctor is great and awesome. And if I made it, hey, I'm sure, that's something that you could, if I were to introduce myself, I think it's honorable. It's an honorable profession. And I think it's something to puff your chest out about a little bit about, to walk in a room and to introduce yourself as Dr. Hall. I think that's awesome. But there's a guy online, and I think anyone that's watching this probably has heard of the name Gary Vaynerchuk, and has watched or at least listened to, his content. And he says something that I think is very important. He says there are people out here that are making $250,000 who probably should be making 200, if not 170, if not 130, if maybe $80,000, right? And the reason why he says that, because is you can make a lot of money and be miserable, be absolutely miserable. You can be a success and not feel like a success, right? Because if you're getting this so-called success, this success that other people are putting you in this box, this is what you should be, then each day that you're doing that job, you're going to feel miserable. And to me, my friends, that is not growth unhindered. To me, that is hindered growth. Even if you've made it all the way to the top of the corporate ladder and you're holding a position that many people would envy, that growth has been hindered.